So the first fight of the night, we had Mitch Raposo versus Andre Lima. Man, Andre Lima is a problem, you guys. His leg kicks were so crisp. His body kicks were crisp. Like he wasn't too offensively like aggressive. He was really timed. He was going about it like relaxingly, and it was a really good fight. We saw one of the judges give it a really awful decision. Someone gave it to Mitch Raposo, 29-28. Personally, I do not agree with that. I think that Lima might have won 29-28 at the very least, if not 30-27. He did his thing over there. It was a great fight. Next fight, we had Eilin Perez versus Joselyn Edwards. So this one was actually okay fight. You know, it was mostly a grappling affair for the first two rounds. They're reversing each other a lot, you know. And actually, the second round, though, Eilin Perez managed to drop a spinning back fist to Joselyn Edwards and dropped her. She just didn't have the IQ to go down and try to beat her up to finish it, but it's okay. Eilin Perez is definitely a good fighter. She can. I think she'll be. I don't think she's gonna be a big problem going forward. But yeah, like I said before, Jocelyn Edwards, something about her is that she's. I don't know. She doesn't use her abilities the way she's supposed to be using them. She doesn't go out there and punches out as often. The fact that she was so willing to grapple when she actually is such a better striker than Eilin Perez. I don't know, man. But Eilin Perez, she's definitely good. And yeah, that was an okay fight. So next up, we had Bassil Hafez versus Gall. And man, now that one was a violent one. That was a really violent fight. They were throwing hooks over hooks. No fucks to give. These guys were going crazy out there, man. A lot of ugly striking. I loved it. We had Gall out there show out. Honestly, I was not prepared to see Gall out there so crisp. Well, he wasn't crisp, but you know what I mean. Like he looked much better than last time we saw him. I think last time was like 2 years ago or something. And yeah, bro, that was a really a great fight. I had fun watching it, and more fun like this, man. We need more ugly striking in the UFC sometimes. We then had Jake Matthews versus Phil Rowe. And man, that was a really interesting fight. We had Jake Matthews out there looking pretty sharp. He was throwing a lot of he was making the fight a little bit more, you know, dirty. He was kind of like brawling with Phil Rowe. Phil Rowe was trying to keep it clean, for a jab from the distance, but was a little lazy on it. You know, would keep his jab out there and just get countered over and over again. Jake Matthews really did great out there with the counters, with the hooks to the body, to the head. He really put a pretty impressive performance. I would like to see him versus Neil Magny next time, bro. I think that would be a really good fight. We then had Grant Dawson versus Joe Solecki. We had Dustin the Diamond Dawson versus Joe Solecki. A tale of two grapplers. Well, a wrestler versus a jiu-jitsu guy. Oftentimes, two grapplers end up in a really dynamic striking match, or whether if it's like a wrestler versus a wrestler. Usually they end up throwing hands. Two jiu-jitsu guys will end up throwing hands, or just basically scramble off each other. But usually wrestlers versus jiu-jitsu guys, that's what you're gonna see. You're gonna see a lot of one guy controlling the cage most of the time, ground control a lot of it, and the jiu-jitsu guy just trying to throw submissions, unless the jiu-jitsu guy has good takedown defense, which Joe Solecki just did not have. And he really got pressured out there, man. He was getting his head crushed against the cage. And you know, Grant Dawson was out there throwing a few elbows and hands just in order to keep the ref off of him. But man, 13 minutes of ground control. That's what we saw from Grant Dawson out there. That's pretty crazy. But hey, it is what it is. Wasn't the most exciting fight, but I liked what I saw. We then had Jailton Almeida versus Alexandr Romanov. Man, Jailton, that's what we want to see from this guy. This is what we want to see from Jailton Almeida, man. He went out there, took him down, got the back, choked him out. That's it, bro. Like, there wasn't any strike thrown. Of course, it's a Jailton Almeida fight. But man, he went out there, took him down, and took care of business right away, man. That's what I like to see. I like Jailton Almeida when he's offensive. And I don't mind someone just grappling the whole time, bro. I'm a grappler. I love grappling, bro. I love to see wrestling. I love to see jiu-jitsu. I like all that shit. But man, be offensive with it. And today, Jailton was offensive with it, bro. The second he managed to get that back, he went and took care of business. He wasn't just riding him like he did Derek Lewis. But man, how good is Derek Lewis on the ground? Jailton was not able to do a damn thing versus him. And boy, did Jailton look big out there, man. He weighed in at 240. Probably the biggest we've seen Jailton so far. He's usually hanging around the 230 mark. And he was looking pretty big. I think he's working on gaining some weight and being a real heavyweight, because he's been looking like a light heavyweight for way too long, man. We might be seeing him turn the corner and becoming a little bigger. Hopefully he just keeps working on his striking, and maybe soon we'll see him strike too. And y'all, Jailton called out for Cyril Gane. Now that's a fight right there. I want to see this. We haven't seen Cyril versus real bad matchups. Always strikers. I want to see that fight. I've always wanted to see Cyril versus Curtis Blades. But man, fuck it. Let's do it. Let's do Jailton Almeida versus Cyril Gane, bro. Let's do that. I want to see that. I want to see how good it fares now. You know, other than John Jones in his last fight, he's been fighting strikers so far. Now this is a real fight. To follow it up, we had Roman Kopylov, aka Chase Hooper's dad, and Cesar Almeida. Oh boy, this dude looked like a baby on the ground. All Roman had to do was go under get close enough to shoot for a double leg, and man, Almeida had no clue. He did not know how to sprawl. He did not know how to get back up. He got dropped in the first round at the end with the left hand, the right hand. Roman Kopylov has been working on his wrestling, you can tell that. And he put it to use. Like, I expected him to do that. And I don't even know why I didn't pick him. But yeah, I had that one wrong. I picked Cecina. You know, I'm a high beast sometimes, and that happens. But hey, definitely showed that he can strike with some of the best out there. He was getting outstruck a little bit past the first round. He was getting outstruck. That's why he kept wrestling the whole time. But he did his thing, man. Next up, we had Randy Rude Boy Brown versus Zaleski. It is Eliseu dos Santos. So Zaleski dos Santos versus Randy Rude Boy Brown. That was a pretty good fight. Most of it was standing. We had Randy Brown running around the cage, moving around, throwing long jabs, a few straights, uppercuts, knees. Sometimes he landed a couple knees that wobbled Zaleski and hurt him. Zaleski also was, grappling a lot more than he usually does. Was throwing a few. Wasn't landing that much on the feet. He wasn't doing the best work, but he did okay on the ground. He won the second round. But yeah, dude, that first round of Randy Brown versus Zaleski, bro, that thing did not make any sense. How? What is the ref doing? Randy Brown went out there, stabbed this man in the eye twice or three times, and the ref just was like, nah, just fight, keep fighting. What is wrong with you, ref? And speaking of eye pokes, the UFC introduced these gloves for the eye pokes, and honestly, I don't think I've seen in recent times. Very few cards have had as many eye pokes. So these new gloves, they really ain't changing a damn thing, bro, if you're being real. But yeah, it was a good fight still. Now moving on to the Alex Morono versus Niko Price. And man, Niko Niko did pretty well, man. Like in the first round, Alex Morono did his thing. He was winning a little bit, but then he just gassed so hard. At the end of the first, he was looking already so tired, and in the second round, Niko Price just took over, man. He took over. He was dominating. He was hitting him with uppercuts, a lot of hooks, taking him down. First, the third round, same thing happened, but the third round was way more dominant. It was even close. It was a good fight for Niko Price, but man, Alex Morono looked beaten out there, bro. It was a short notice fight though, so can't really judge him on that. But wow, Niko Price really showed out, and yeah, Alex Morono had no answers to all these questions. Now moving on to the feature fight, we had Kevin Holland versus Misha Oleksiejczuk. Guys, whew, Misha backs up power, man. He dropped Kevin Holland. I think that might be the first guy to actually drop Kevin Holland, and he dropped him off of a kick. Then he went out there, tried to finish him with ground and pound. Kevin Holland put his legs around his neck, around his arms, his neck and arm, like in a triangle type of way. And Misha just left his arm there for a little too long, man. Kept trying to ground and pound, and Kevin Holland gets him with an armbar. Misha did not want to tap. You could tell Kevin Holland was not trying to break that shit. He was actually trying to, like a jiu-jitsu class, you know. He was literally, like he said in his own interview, he was trying to not break it. And I get the sentiment, but he realized that Misha is not a quitter. He's gonna let you break that shit, and bro, he sure did. He dislocated. At least it looked like it was, because Michel after it, somehow, some way, he complained to the ref. You know, he wasn't agreeing with it. So who knows? But it looked broken to me. It looked like he dislocated the hell out of that forearm, and wow, that's some good work from Kevin Holland. I don't know who I would like to see him fight next, but hopefully soon. Now, what about that Sean Strickland versus Paulo Costa fight? Dudes, Sean Strickland showed out there today. What he did, it was literally just walking Costa down, throwing teeps to the body and jabs. That's all he was doing, teeps, checking the kicks. Once again, like I said, that used to be his weakness back in the days, but ever since the Adesanya fight, man, his legs don't get kicked as much. Costa did have a good first round. First round, I gave it to Costa. He was landing a lot of leg kicks, actually, until the adjustments, of course. But he was doing pretty well in the first round. But Sean Strickland just turned it up on him and gassed him out. Like he tired him. He kept being in his face, and Costa was moving backwards the whole time, which is pretty surprising. If you've seen Costa fight, he doesn't fight like that usually, you know. And yeah, he was out there facing a Sean Strickland, someone that goes and puts a pace on your ass. And Costa didn't want any of that trouble, so hey, he kept backpedaling and stuff. He should have stayed in his face, keep throwing leg kicks and body kicks and stuff, but remain in the guy's face. And I think that's what made him lose the fight. And for some reason, one judge gave it to Paulo Costa. I don't agree with that, man. That's bullshit. But yeah, it wasn't the most entertaining fight, but it was pretty good still. Sean Strickland did his thing. Costa did not want to engage nearly as much until the fifth round, where he really went with his entire soul over there, man. He was really trying to win the fight in the fifth, but it just wasn't enough, and he probably lost the last round because of the last 20 seconds. So let's talk about the Islam fight. And the last fight of the night was Islam Makhachev versus Dustin Poirier. The main event went pretty well, guys. Fight of the night. Islam went out there, did something that I didn't expect him to do versus Dustin Poirier. He outstruck him, dominated him on the ground, and ended up subbing him. I did expect a submission at one point possibly, but I did think that Islam was gonna end up TKOing Dustin probably on the ground in the fourth. But man, what he did out there on defeat was really crazy. He was beating Dustin, because Dustin was landing punches first, but he was getting countered oftentimes. Islam is the one that landed most of the stinging strikes until the fourth and the fifth, where Dustin decided to be way more aggressive and to throw more out there and to just let it fly. It was a little too late, and of course it was getting taken down and stuff like that, but you gotta respect the heart of Dustin Poirier, man. He did not quit on himself at all. He went out there 100% the whole time. But man, he just was outclassed. He was outmatched out there. And that's it. Like, Islam is someone that you have to pay attention to. And it's time for you guys to admit, because I'm tired of saying it in the in the vacuum, that Islam is one of the best strikers at 155. And all I hear is people talk about how good his grappling is. Dude, grappling is only half of his game. His striking is elite in the UFC at 155. And the fight versus Dustin, I thought was going to prove that, but it definitely did. He definitely proved that he is elite. He's an elite striker at 155, and that he's one of the best out there. Now, I did really good like for UFC 302. I scored pretty well. I went 9-2. Went a little wrong in the prelims. I got it wrong for Joselyn Edwards. I got it wrong for Rowe and Cesar Almeida. Everything else pretty correct. Was a good night. Great card. Can't wait for the next one. Can't wait for Conor versus Chandler especially. Now, next fight we're going to break down who we wanted to see. The winners fight. The winners of the main card fight. This is going to be my next video. So thank you guys for watching. If you liked it, like the video, subscribe if you appreciate the channel, and I catch you in the next one. Peace out, because I'm out.